Well, there's a good gaming YouTube channel that we've both watched called Slope's Game Room. I particularly like when he delves into a particular franchise and makes longer documentary length videos about them. I've really enjoyed his content over the past couple years that I've been aware of it. That being said, he posted a video today at the time we're recording this, it was today, that his channel is scheduled to be deleted after some interesting things that have unfolded. So I wanted to talk about this with Kelly because Kelly is somebody who has run afoul of YouTube, gotten into some trouble. So you know a thing or two about this stuff.
Yeah, I know a thing or two also about bearded men causing problems. Yeah, very.
Kelly
There's
has
common
facial hair.
threads.
I just want to point that out.
Dark, swarthy, bearded men. Yeah, it was interesting, and particularly given the subject. As so, I haven't had a chance to get through the whole video yet, and so I'm going to learn. I've gotten through chapter two of the story, and have begun to see some groundwork being laid to say, "Oh, I have a hunch where maybe a problem's going to emerge," but I don't know much about it. However, the I was a little concerned given the title of his video and what's going on and the seriousness that he was treating what was going on. And then as he began to tell the story, it began with, well, I kind of took some shots at these guys doing the Super Sega. And then I reflected and said, I know a couple other guys that have shared, I think, a couple times some thoughts that this might not be the greatest thing in the world. But so I just hope we stay okay.
Yeah, so this all started because the Super Sega, which we've mentioned, pretty much any retro gaming YouTube channel has mentioned, the Super Sega is a product that seems too good to be true. And it appears that is the case, at least so far in what's been going on. And then there was a whole big debacle about pre-orders. And of course, Sega not wanting them to call it Sega, because they own that trademark, things like that. So obvious issues with it. So he made a couple of videos kind of deep diving into the whole story. Um, the guy who created the Super Sega, though, is still trying to get something off the ground and get something going. Although he is mostly now dealing directly with fans through a WhatsApp group chat. And so DJ Slope, the host of Slope's Game Room, got into this WhatsApp group app through using a burner. I said boner, using his boner. It got real dark, Kelly.
But yeah, I'm not familiar with the boner phone, but go ahead.
Using a burner phone to join this WhatsApp group so that it wasn't obvious that it was him because they were already familiar with his information and kind of doxed him after these videos that he posted about his questions and concerns about the validity of this project. But he wanted to see what was going on in this WhatsApp group. And once he was in there, of course, the gentleman who's doing all this speaks Spanish. DJ Slope doesn't speak Spanish. A lot of the people in the group are speaking Spanish. So he decided to just copy it all and send it to a friend of his who speaks Spanish to translate. So he copied everything, I guess, into his Google Drive or his Google Pictures with screenshots, went about his day doing stuff, only to find out that he was then cut off from access to all of his Google related accounts. So his Drive, his AdSense, his Google Pictures, YouTube, all of that good stuff. He can still post videos because he has access to the channel through another account, like when you have multiple creators on the same channel. So, and he backed up all of his YouTube videos, but stuff that was in his Gmail, stuff that was on his Drive, like family photos and personal emails and all that stuff, he no longer has access to. And after a certain amount of time, those will be permanently deleted. So he is desperately trying to reach out to somebody to try and find out what's going on and try and get a handle on the situation. because the account is scheduled for deletion. They give you a certain number of days as like a countdown if you wanted to try and fight this to some degree, which apparently he has. He started that process, but he's not confident that this is going to come to a resolution before everything is deleted. So even if he has everything backed up, he's losing all of that personal stuff. The best he can figure um, is that the stuff he took, the Spanish language stuff that he wanted to have translated, turns out they were saying some pretty crazy stuff in there. So when he put all of that into his drive, Google flagged it for hate speech of what was going on in there. Ironically, he didn't say any of this stuff and didn't even know what it said at the time. So apparently it was some pretty crazy stuff that's all related to this WhatsApp group, and he didn't even know what it said. So also I do think there's a little bit of a cautionary tale for everybody in there not to just, copy things that you don't know what they say. I remember a little while ago an album that Kelly carried us through called Session. We had a song in French on there. I don't speak French. I had like 15 different people translate those lyrics just to make sure there wasn't anything that could cause a problem with me down the line. So I get it. But I do think it's, I really, really hope he gets this resolved because I enjoy his content. And obviously I don't want to see anybody lose their personal photos and things like that. That sounds like a nightmare. But also it's a little bit of a, wake up call for anybody who's just copying things to translate them. You don't know what that says. So you do want to be careful about doing that. Because there's plenty of times I've gone on sites from other countries and just copied it and thrown it in Google Translate just to see what something says. That could be something crazy that gets me into trouble. And I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, and if on session I already carried it, but I could have carried it more, particularly if the lyrics to the song were "Where is the library? I'm not Paul's friend, 14." I would have nailed it for you. I'd been able to say, "This
Just
says,
crushed it.
where is the library?"
This
Um,
guy
um,
hates Paul. Who's Paul?
I am not Paul's friend. Je ne parle me to Paul. 14. Yeah, so we could have helped you out there. Kind of a narrow window of my French abilities, but it's there. Um, yeah, we had a. So Mike mentioned a little bit earlier that I got a bad content, offensive content strike to the extent that they said, "Hey, guess what? We all make mistakes, and you've just made one. We are suspending your ability to uh, publish content for, I believe it was a month." And then they're like, but and then after that, if you're cool, it's okay. But happens another time, maybe everything's gone. And so that was nice. The the kicker on that was it wasn't anything I said that was the issue. It had to do with another individual who's on this show, something that he said. However, in fairness to him, he had said it on like two other shows, two other podcasts, who blissfully moved along with no issues whatsoever. However, when he kind of went to his fan favorite line, no need to share it here. The or a phrase he coined, um, it got me waxed. And then and another one. It was the whole show, wasn't it? The show with Christian.
Yeah.
It was a sec. Must have been the second show with Christian, or no? It
It
was a.
it was hard no with
Oh,
Christian.
yeah. We did
We
hard
did
no.
a hard no recording session with Christian. And if you guys are like, I catch every episode of Hard No, it comes out daily and it's free with my subscription to Bog Panda. So I've caught every episode of it. Well, you didn't because we did a group of episodes with Christian and Google was like, nah, we're taking that.
We're gonna
And
remove it. We're gonna salt the hard drives it was on. They're just it just is gone. The nice part
and
is that
that one I'll take responsibility for that one.
I mean, you can, I think co-equal responsibility with you and Christian. You both brought a lot to the table for those.
I feel like it was me. I'm gonna take all of the responsibility on this one because there was a particular question, and after I gave my answer, and we were in so prior to Zoom becoming the way we do these sorts of things, or everyone does these sorts of things now, Google Hangouts was a thing. This is how Google had access to that recording. It was stored in Google Hangouts. We did a Google Hangout, and I gave an answer to a question. So hard no, if you're one of those people who hasn't checked it out, there's hundreds of episodes. Go check it out. Hard no, we do kind of lightning round questions with each other. And when I gave my answer, and I'll just go out on a limb and say, I don't think Christian Kelly are in the same place of what's appropriate in certain situations to say. I would say they would disagree at times on that, but they were in complete agreement that I had made a mistake in what I had said because I said it and I saw both of their faces and they were both making the same face when I said it. So I knew we can't put that one up. I didn't think that Google would swoop in and just go, that hour never happened.
Yep, they vanished it, made it disappear. So, but I sure hope this works out. Certainly seems like an innocent mistake. The days of me being useful in terms of one of the things he's pleading for is to say, hey, you've got to contact at YouTube or Google, um, you know, any connection I can get to help me out so I can just explain this better. So he's not looking for favorable treatment. He's just trying to say, let me make sure everybody's clear on what's happened here before the consequences are doled out, which seems incredibly fair to me. In a previous life, I'd have had probably a contact or two that I could say, yeah, try this person because I did, lucked out in that when Gerald Webb was back in the day when you wanted to be on Twitter and get verified and in that kind of world, Gerald was having some difficulty getting that done, and I happened to be in a circumstance where I could talk to somebody at Twitter who knew the person that ran the verification process and we were able to get them connected, and then they had the conversation. Not dissimilar to this. That Gerald had the story to tell. There was absolutely he needed to be verified. There was no question about it. It was just connecting that information to the right person. It sounds like this is the case here. That once the right information gets out, they'll say, "Don't do that again," and not shut everything down. So hopefully, we'll be able to give an update in the not too distant future. And this is taken care of. But it'd be a real shame. He does great content, so and he is very accurate on uh, what went on with the Sega-like thingy. Not saying that just not copying and pasting anything about it, but he was certainly in the right and it was well thought out and explained to why this is not what you think it is.
Yeah, and I think it's important too, and he stresses multiple times, he's not trying to clickbait anybody. He's not asking for anything like money or anything along those lines. In fact, he doesn't want people to send him anything. He's very clear about that. He's just trying to stop the channel from being deleted and his Google accounts, period, from being deleted so that he doesn't lose, especially all that personal stuff that he had on there. Because he
Yeah.
could always get it straightened out at a later date and start another YouTube page. And he does have all of his videos backed up. He said that sucks to have to start over, but at least he could. It's more about all the personal stuff that he would lose.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you can do anything to help him out on that path, that'd be great. If he really felt the urge to donate and he indicate he doesn't want it, but you say I need to give my money to somebody, Mike and Kelly from Bog Panda will take your money anytime.
We'll
Uh,
help you fill that void,
we're there for you.
wanting to give somebody money.
That's right. Just let her roll in. We'd be willing to take that and send good vibes. So we're all about that. So your call, but you got to think about it. Along with subscribing to the Bog Panda YouTube channel. check out those fine micro homebrew games we have out there. Slapdash for the Game Boy, Dr. Mike's Lab for NES, and Doom 2 levels, unique for Doom, called Boom Panda. So check all those out. We got merchandise, t-shirts. You should really take a peek in some of those. There's some pretty good ones out there for that. And as Mike mentioned, Hard No, the world's shortest podcast, only missing a few episodes that Google took away from us. Comes out daily, less than a minute of time. You have no excuse. Check it out. That's a lot. That's a lot of value for one subscribe. Kind of the kind of
It
value that
is.
make you want to send us money. So, you know, just to further reinforce our openness to random people sending us money.
Bog Panda.